So normally I review films from the past, from around 60 to 70 some years ago, because that's currently my level of interest. I love these old black and white movies, and I've been trying to explore and learn more about them. But every now and then I watch something contemporary, and I have to be honest, I don't usually enjoy many things that come out of Hollywood these days. Most everything seems kind of cloy, formulaic, and pointless. But every now and then I do enjoy a good bubblegum action movie, and I think that's probably the best way you could describe Jumanji: The Next Level, which is a sequel to an earlier Jumanji film, which was itself a sequel to an earlier Robin Williams movie. And I'll just say at the beginning, I did appreciate how they kind of mixed things up a little bit with the formula. And for what it's worth, the film was good popcorn action and adventure. It wasn't perfect, but I thought I'd just spend a couple minutes and just talk about what I liked and what I didn't really like about Jumanji: The Next Level. And I'll just say at the beginning, Jumanji: The Next Level was fine, but only up to a point, and I'll get to that point in the film. It does involve a little bit of a spoiler, I suppose, so if you don't want any spoilers, go out to Redbox, spend $1.25, and rent the movie for yourself. I'd say go to the library, but, well, with pandemic, I don't even know if libraries are open right now. But anyhow, the plot of this film, which I thought was fairly weak, was basically that the original 4 kids from the previous film find a way to get drawn back into Jumanji Land for the same convoluted reason, I guess through a video game machine. But the initial twist, and again, I respect what they were doing here, is that in the process of going back into the video game, 2 of these elderly characters, Danny DeVito and Danny Glover, who are both like grandparent type figures, they just happen to be in the background, so they get brought into the machine as well. And Danny DeVito ends up becoming his avatar, which is The Rock, and Danny Glover becomes the Kevin Hart character. And at this point of the film, I'll be honest, I thought they had a good thing going. The formula was completely shaken up. We weren't basically seeing a rehash of the first film, because here we had 2 older, befuddled characters who have no idea what's going on. In fact, the running gag for the longest time is the Rock character, who's at Danny DeVito inside. He's so confused about what's going on, he's constantly questioning, am I in a video game? Am I under medical sedation for hip surgery? And it's pretty funny stuff. And Kevin Hart, to his credit, he did an amazing job sort of channeling Danny Glover as this wise old man who's carefully analyzing everything, particularly animals, because that's one of his special powers, I suppose. And he too is equally puzzled about what's going on in this game universe. So there's 2 other characters that are there, but honestly I don't think they offered much to the film. Karen Gillan is basically the same character she was from the first film, and Jack Black is back, and Jack Black is sort of the avatar of the jock guy. And, a thing I didn't really like about the film is that he was using a lot of profanity through the film. Yeah, I'm old-fashioned. I watch for that type of thing. But I always watch films and try to keep it in mind of, hey, is this appropriate for all ages? And the language was strong enough with this Jumanji sequel, I'd almost say no. I don't know why the producers decided to amplify that, but hey, it's just me. I won't go much into the plot, but here's the convoluted event that I think frankly ruined the film. The characters find a convenient magical device that allows them to switch their avatars around. And they use this to basically revert or switch the characters back so that the original 4 kids from the previous film take over or inhabit the avatars that they were familiar with from the previous film. So the lead kid, he becomes The Rock again, and Oh, I don't even remember who they were, but it's basically from this point forward, the film sort of lost its interest to me. I thought they had a good thing going with having Danny DeVito and Danny Glover as the two main characters, because the way they were driving the adventure was just so crazy, so off the wall. But now it was just back to the same rehash of the first film. You know, the novelty of these older characters was gone. I think one of the characters became a horse, and then another character became a locksmith girl. I mean, it was, at that point, the film was flat. I won't go any further into the plot or the story. I'll just say when they got to that give me a break moment of the film where everything reverted back, it was just more of the same. It was like watching just an actual sequel to the previous film. But I will say after watching the film, I just stayed awake thinking too much about how this Jumanji universe actually works. It's like a video game, but it's a video game that's sort of a doorway to another world, like Narnia, I guess. But aging is suspended while you're there. And you also have 3 regenerations, and then poof, you're nothing. So that had me wondering, as if your body dies on the outside world, or on the inside of Jumanji, what happens? I guess your body's gone from the outside world. So it's not like Tron, where the computer has to be running to generate and render the character, but the video game actually works as a doorway that throws you into another world, but you can't get out unless you complete the puzzles of the game. And it also seems like when you're in this universe, you have no memory of what's going on as far as the passage of time. So that was a little puzzling to me. And you know, every time I see The Rock in anything, it just always makes me wonder, how did Mick Foley survive being hit on the head 10 times with a steel chair in the 1999 Royal Rumble without substantial brain damage? And why did The Rock even agree to do that? Alright, anyhow, the Jumanji computer universe, it's inhabited by non-player characters, and they're defined in this film and in the previous film as being very two-dimensional, very simple with basic repetitive behavior. So you would think that if you were there for any extended duration of time, it would be impossible to have any sort of substantial or meaningful relationships with anyone. Almost to just this point of madness, I would think. It's sort of like the Groundhog Day movie, but with limited memory of events, and with really no way out of the game unless you have a complement of other players with special gifts and abilities to help you do it. And you know, Paris, I thought that somehow this game winds up in the trash or permanently destroyed. Well, you'd be trapped there in a hopeless cycle of you eternally regenerating and never being able to leave. And also, who's playing the drums? So that's Jumanji. The first film was meh. This one was unnecessary, and I'm going to go back to watching older films.